Hello and welcome to our presentation. Today we'll be discussing the suggested product order report found in the Products Replenishment section of Communicate for Marketplaces. My name is Tom and I'll be your presenter for this video. Communicate for Marketplaces is an enterprise-level cloud reporting platform designed for e-commerce merchants just like you. Communicate features over 220 standard reports, dashboards, and utilities. It is remarkably intuitive and easy to use. In no time you'll be running reports just like a pro. The suggested product order report is a product replenishment report. It is designed to support your restocking process, ensuring you have the right products at the right time and the right quantities. With a suggested product order report, you can choose which warehouses to replenish. You can select which date range for sales history evaluation for product replenishment. Additionally, you can filter by supplier and brands along with many other filters and options to satisfy your requirements. Once you've chosen your filters and options, you are ready to generate the suggested product order report. This video is part one of a two-part series. Part one will focus on the filters and options for the suggested product order report. We'll be discussing those filters and options in greater detail, explaining the effect those choices have on your results. Before we get started with this presentation, we recommend watching the following videos: days out of stock, inventory time on hand, and total inventory calculation. These videos explain in greater detail some of the options we'll be discussing in this video. Let's get started with Suggested Product Order Report Part 1 presentation for Marketplace Reporting. One more reminder before we get started. Be sure to review those videos we mentioned. Those videos will be helpful from this point forward. Go to the Products Replenishment menu located in the ribbon bar and select the Suggested Product Order Report. Right mouse click anywhere in the report and select Search from the pop-up menu. Let's discuss the available filters for this report. In the lower left of the data filters are date options, which determine which date type is used for determining unit sales for the report. The order date is selected by default. The order date is the preferred date when generating product replenishment reports. The order date is much more relevant for product replenishment than paid or ship dates. However, we include those options in case you find those dates more useful. The next set of filters we'll review are the filter options found in the upper right of the data filters. The supply days is the value used to determine how many days supply you want to maintain. By default, this value is set to 30, but can be changed to any value you deem necessary. There are use case scenarios where 45, 60, or more days supply is necessary for certain products, brands, or suppliers. The forecast percent can be used for what-if scenarios to anticipate any changes in sales projections. For example, you look back at the previous season to anticipate a 25% sales increase for the next season. You can easily change the forecast percent value to 125 and give it a try. The lead days are the average number of days it takes from the time you issue a purchase order until the time the product arrives to your warehouse. Keep in mind, lead days can vary from supplier to supplier and even from product to product from the same supplier. Purchase orders with issue and receive dates by supplier and product are the most accurate means for lead days. More on this later. The next filter option is the units on hand greater than 0. This filter limits the results of those products currently in stock. Normally you would not use this filter, but there are cases where you might want to look at in-stock products only, particularly when determining which course of action to consider with overstocks. You can accomplish the same result using the report filters. To use lead days as a minimum option uses the lead days value as the minimum number of lead days. If the actual lead day for a product is less than the lead days value, then this option will use the lead days value instead. The Use Lead Days Only filter option will ignore any calculated lead days for a product and use the lead days value. The With Sales Only filter option will only list those products that have a sales history. This filter is selected by default for good reason. Deselecting this filter will return all products in your catalog regardless of sales history. This could be a very long list of products that can take a while to generate. The next set of filters are the recommended order filters. By default, no filter applied is selected. This filter determines which products are displayed based on the recommended order column. There are three options which include greater than, less than, and not equal to 0. The greater than 0 selection will limit the report to only those products which require replenishment. The less than 0 selection will limit the report to only those products which are overstock. Overstock inventory consumes valuable warehouse space and ties up capital. Overstock inventory can be subject to storage fees from Amazon FBA and other 3PLs. The next filter is the sales history range filters. The through date and sales dates work together. The through date is the end date for the sales history evaluation period. The sales date determines the number of days to look back. The difference between the through date and sales date determines the start date of the sales history evaluation period. Both the through date and sales dates are user selectable, so you can set those values to whatever you require. For example, you want to project for next season. You can set the through date to the end of last season, then set the sales days to however many days you deem suitable to evaluate sales for last season. The data filters for this report include additional filter tabs located at the bottom. You can filter by additional options, brands, categories, products, suppliers, and warehouse. Click on the Additional Filter tab. As you can see, there are additional filter options you can apply to the suggested product order report. In the upper left of the additional filters are time on hand priority options. These options are used for color coding the priority mechanism for the replenishment report. High priority products require immediate review to avoid going out of stock. Moderate priorities should be reviewed next since their time on hand is within the review window. The non-priority requires no review since there are sufficient units on hand for customer demand. Overstock priority indicates there are too many units in stock and should be reviewed for ways to reduce units on hand. The Use Color Coding option is toggled on by default, but can be toggled off if you don't want to use color coding for the designated priorities. You can review the time on hand video for more in-depth review of this subject. The days out of stock options determines the use of the days out of stock for sales velocity calculations. By default, the use days out of stock is not enabled. We recommend toggling this feature on for more precise sales velocity calculations. The Apply Days Out of Stock Threshold option limits the use of days out of stock when numbers of days out of stock exceeds the threshold. By default, the threshold is set to 50%. If the option is selected and number of days out of stock exceed the threshold percent, then the days out of stock are not used for sales velocity calculation for the item. Additionally, anytime the threshold limit is applied to an item, the days out of stock cell would be color-coded the same color seen next to the threshold value, money green. You can review the days out of stock video for a more in-depth review of this subject. The total inventory calculation options are explained in more detail in the total inventory calculation video. For now, we'll leave all three options enabled so the units total will include the units on hand, units on order, units in transit, and units reserved. The next set of options are the recommended order calculation. These options affect how quantities are calculated and applied from other warehouses. For example, you want to replenish your Amazon distribution center. The Get Units from Other Warehouses option will retrieve the units on hand from all other warehouses and populate the quantity warehouse field. The Apply Units to Recommended Order calculation will add the quantity warehouse value to the quantity total used for calculating the recommended units and order. The Use Total Inventory calculation determines how the quantity total is calculated for quantities from other warehouses. If this option is selected, it will use the same selection found in your total inventory calculation. Obviously, these filters are only effective when replenishing for a specific warehouse. We'll discuss these options in a subsequent video aptly named Recommended Order Calculation. The additional filters found on the right of the Additional Filter tab contain additional filters which can be applied to this report. Go to the Products tab found in the bottom center of the data filters and click the tab. Many merchants create meaningful SKU naming conventions which can indicate a brand, group, parent, variation, or supplier. You can use the SKU filter box in combination with wildcard characters to filter by those patterns. If you want to filter by multiple patterns, you can separate each pattern with a semicolon to utilize our filter stacking technology. The remaining filter boxes operate the same way, so you can use wildcards and filter stacking on any field in the Filter Options section. Now that we've explained the filter options and what they signify for this report, let's add some filters so we can review results for the suggested product order report. Click on the Warehouses tab. From the available list, select the Amazon Distribution Center and add it to the selected list. Once the warehouse has been added, click on the Apply button located below and apply a filter to the suggested product order report. As you can see, there are 145 products listed on this report. This concludes our presentation of the Suggested Product Order Report Part 1 found in the Products Replenishment section of Communicated for Marketplaces. Reports are crucial for any business, especially yours. Marketplace reporting provides you with better reports so you'll have better results for your business. You can contact us at sales@marketplacereporting.com to learn more about marketplace reporting and how we can help. You can join the conversation at marketplacereporting.com/blog. Be sure to subscribe to our channel, click the like button, and share with your colleagues. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.